today? Good morning. Susan, get in here. I'm not...
And look tall.
She's always trying to shrink off the screen like, I'm over here. How are you guys doing today? Say hello as you pop on. We are super excited for today's live. I know Susan has some fun things planned. If you caught the description of the video, today we are going to be talking about the gel press and doing some gel printing. And so if that has been something, maybe you've been curious about it and haven't dove in yet, but Susan has some cool ways to use it that might be a little out of the box.
Very out of the box.
Yeah, and she's not using it with any paint. So I know that's been one of the things that some people are like, I don't know if it's kind of messy and maybe not my style, or the results are more unpredictable. Yeah. I love using the paint, but I'm excited for Susan to show you guys some ideas for using the gel press with ink. So who's here today? Hi, Beth. Hi, Julianne. Hello, Carol.
Candy.
Sure love the early morning live while I'm drinking my coffee in California. Well, good. Everybody gets your favorite
she
beverage.
Ordered her tool already.
Oh, good.
I'm so
that
excited.
was. Oh, we were going to talk about this. Susan can be my Vanna
so
for a minute. So we wanted to talk about this that launched today. So I've been sneak peeking this for about the last week. It's something I've been working on for probably the last 6 months or so, probably more than that.
I feel like it's been longer than that.
How long have you had your miscolored prototype that I gave you to test?
At least 6 months. So I think we had it maybe 9. You've been working on it.
Yes, I have been. It has been something rolling around in my brain because, you know, as much as I told you guys that made jokes about the troll hair on the other powder tool that I had.
Just need to be gentle.
It really did bother me. I don't, the troll hair stuck out in all different directions because I'm pretty hard on my tools, I guess. And so I was a pouncer, and I would pounce that thing to make sure that I was seeing the powder come out of it. And then over time, he got crazy.
There was no hair almost.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited.
So this is a little bit different. Let me just show you guys if you haven't seen it before. So this is filled with 25 grams of powder. So that's quite a lot of powder. It comes pre-filled. You shouldn't need to refill it. We will be offering the refills of our powder.
You won't need it for a while.
But you won't need it for a while. So this is how you would refill it. Can I get it up in the screen there? But there's the powder. And then if we open it up like this, you can see the applicator is a really soft kind of, almost like a foam, but not quite like a foam. It's very soft.
But you can pounce the heck out of it.
Yes, you can. You can just pounce, pounce, pounce. If you want to put it on your baby's butt, you can do that. It is safe for the skin. It is unscented. So those of you who have any kind of scent allergies, the powder is unscented just for you. All right, so these are available now in the Tailored Expressions web store.
Can't take it.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'll leave the box open because Susan's going to use it later on. And you can find those now on the Tailored Expressions web store. And I know the other thing I wanted to mention, just in case, I don't think they forgot, but today is the beginning of the Stamp Joy discount period. So you should have your email by now. Those orders have been pouring in this morning. I've already seen. So if you have supplies that you need to grab for the event, now is the time to do that with your discounts. So
it's coming up fast.
Yes.
We'll be here before we know it. A month and a half. Yeah.
Charlie said Rhett's getting a powder tool for his half birthday. His butt deserves the best. So true.
Oh, Charlie.
All right. I am going to leave you guys to Susan and have an amazing time learning, and I will see you on Tuesday again. Take it away.
Yay.
Sound good?
You're going to flip it around for me, though, before
here you go.
One of these times I have to figure out this technology, right? Hi. So excited. I'll try. I'm really trying to get better at checking your guys' comments and stuff. So, oh, Charlie just linked the powder tool. I can't tell you how excited I am about this because embossing, is literally what brought me to stamping. I saw that. I was hooked. And then I was just sort of hooked for a little while, and then matching cardstock and ink really pulled me in, but the embossing is what started it all for me. And when Taylor brought this idea and showed it to me, and then I knew it was going to be a while before we would get it. It was almost painful. So yeah, we've been talking about this, I think, for at least 9 months, because she gave me one to take home and try, and I was hooked. So I really like it, but an embossing tool is just a must when you do that. So anyway, I will use that, but just to do sentiments in a little while. I'm going to talk today, I'll show you a couple of examples here, about using your gel press with our regular TE inks. And I didn't get into the gel press. I didn't buy the kit right away because I am just, if you like, even looking at these cards, clean and simple. That's what I do. It's not about getting my hands dirty or anything like that, but I just don't know how to let it go. I kind of want control. I want to know that I could maybe recreate something. I guess when I put the paint down, I'm just not sure what I'm doing, and I don't know if my braying around and what it looks like looks good, or if it just looks a mess. So I like something that I can kind of keep clean and simple. So I came up with these. I'm going to show you just kind of the basics. We'll come back to all these cards later. I will show you more details about them. We will come back to them. But just to kind of start with, this is the kit if you were to purchase it. It comes in this very nice, very large bag of goodies. But in the kit, you will get the paint, which I did have fun with the paint, but I probably use it in a way that's much simpler than most. I'm going to grab a sample. I put my samples away just because they're not what most people, so this is with a little bit of paint, a white paint, and a little bit of just colored paint and stencils, because I can't do all those layers and all that stuff you're supposed to do. It's just too hard for me. So this is, let me see if I can find one more. Well, this was kind of a fail. I had too much paint down. This one I thought turned out okay. This one I really liked, but again, it's not your typical. So after I was done kind of messing with that, I cleaned up my gel press, and I went in the direction of trying our ink. I knew I had seen it at some point somewhere. I didn't know if it mattered what kind of ink you had. I didn't know if you needed something like oxide or something that was more pigmented. So I just kind of dove in and started messing. But again, this is the kit. It's got your paint in it. I really love the pearl. Then it's got your speedball, your roller, your rubber roller. I have two. I have the one that came in the kit, and then I have a really, really old one from way, way back in the day. I don't even know. It's got to be at least 20 years old. So I'll be using both of those today just because I don't want to have to clean. You'll have your gel press paper, and then your little storage tin. I think that's the main gist of what's in the kit. So I will show you. I mainly stuck to using the roller, the paper, and the gel press, so out of the kit. But all of it that comes together is very helpful. Oh, and this hand sanitizer, but I'll talk about cleaning in a minute here. Let me put this aside, because that big bag takes up a lot of my room. If I would zoom out, you would see I have every space outside of the camera used, because I really spread out when I craft. So I know this has been said many times online. I like to use the Misty only because it's a flat surface and I can put my gel press on it and get it out of the way if I need to. Checking notes quick. Anxious to see your system is, I'm not a big gel press fan. I agree, Linda. Bob Ross, no mistakes. I like that one too. Thank you, Charlie. I really think I did make a lot of mistakes here. I'm just going to be truthful here. I'm going to show you. Turn around. I'm not kidding. This is how many I tried. And then I have more that I'm going to show you that actually turned out well. And then there are some in the trash can too, but I just went to town just trying all kinds of things. So there's some truth for you. But I really wanted to try it on my own without looking for a resource. So at first I just tried, and there was a lot of fails. I did Google search to make sure I wasn't ruining my gel press with anything I was putting on it, which I found out I don't think so, because people talked about cleaning it with hand sanitizer and stuff. That was one thing that I did research early on. So opening it up, inside your gel press is obviously your gel press, but there are 2 pieces of hard plastic. I would highly recommend keeping those and keeping the packaging it comes in. It's really kind of funny because I was planning on this video months ago, or not months, maybe weeks ago. And my daughters, who are seniors in high school, they came home one day and they said the thing they were learning in art class was gel press. And I was like, that's funny. If you go upstairs to my stamp room, I have one too, but they're doing it with the paint, and they were talking about how newspaper print can do special effects and stuff on them. So it was just funny how they're talking about it, but I'm using it in a totally different way. But the one thing that they discussed with me is how important it is to keep your gel press as flat as can be. So like if you had, maybe we'll use this as an example, as a little heart that got stuck underneath your gel press will actually take on that shape. So, and it will take a while to get it back out of there. So storing it with the plastic on it and in this flat packaging is very important. So, and I learned that from my senior daughters and their art teacher, I guess. So I take it, and I took the one side off and I lay it down. And one thing I like to do is try to make sure I don't get too many bubbles behind it. So if you can see, I'm holding the one side up and I just kind of press it down. I feel like that's important because I don't want those bubbles underneath. So, and then I peel the top up. And then again, like I said, those 2 pieces of plastic I will keep, and I'm going to stick them right in the box. So, just to keep them nice and you appreciate my sharing my real experience. I think that's what I just read. What size is that gel press? I can answer that. I suppose it says on the packaging 5 by 7. I guess I don't even have to measure it. 5 by 7. Sorry, checking to make sure I'm not missing anything. Lydia recommends using paper to store the plastic, as it can leave bubbles when you put it back down. That could be true. I would say listen to Lydia, because I'm just still learning this, but I always try really hard to try to get all the bubbles out. I was shocked to know that. My girls informed me of that it'll take on the shape, like, so I was even thinking of maybe if you had a hair on it or something. So watch your gel press. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is from my hit or miss. I'm going to start with these. Is colors can really turn out differently, especially when you go to blend, and if you go back and forth. Sometimes your colors can really end up being a little bit different depending on how much you go back and forth. This was pineapple, and you wouldn't know it except for I hadn't totally cleaned off my brayer before I came back. So I think it got a little bit of guava up in the pineapple. So this was pineapple, guava, and plum punch. 3 colors work. For our cardstock size, 2 or 3. I didn't get too much more than that because I felt like the space of my card front didn't allow for a whole lot of variation. And besides that, I have been using the full-size ink pads. So up to you. Play around. Like I said, I just cut a whole bunch of paper up and just went to town trying it. So again, this is the gel press paper that comes in your kit. And I'm going to start by telling you one of the first things that I learned is to not put down too much ink. I'm going to show you my mistake, and I will maybe come back to talking about this later. So this is with the stamp set called Botanical Beauty Background. And here are some of my successes and fails, all of it, both. But this is where I had too much ink and it starts to pool. So through my process of trying it, I started to learn what I liked with the ink pad and what I didn't. And everyone's different. If you find you like dragging your ink pad across or you like tapping, completely up to you. Everyone has their own preference. I would just say practice because it's fun, and just kind of see what works for you. Because the other part is too, everyone's ink pads are different. So this ink pad was my Dijon, and it was brand new. I opened it on a live, I think, maybe in December or something like that. I will try to talk louder. I'm standing right next to the mic. Someone else says they're good, so I will try. But this was my Dijon, and it was very inky, so that can also make a difference. I think the more you try, you'll find out what the ink looks like on your gel press. So I will just dive in. I'm going to show you. The first few times I tried dragging, it totally works. For me, I found the amount of ink that were in my ink pads, I found that 2 or 3 taps of my ink pad was my golden spot. But it's completely up to you. If you have too much ink, you can get it off, so it's not that big a deal. So I'm going to do 1, 2, I'll do a third. So let me see how this shows. So I put a white piece of paper underneath just so you can see it. That was just 2 or 3 actually taps of my ink pad on there. I didn't press real hard, I barely touched, just because the surface kind of grabs the ink from just right off, easy peasy. And I do have just scratch white paper off to the side, and I use that every once in a while if I feel I have too much ink and I get rid of it. So, and the other thing is light hand is my biggest thing to tell you. Also make sure you don't have embossing powder or anything on your brayer. I can feel some on mine. I'm gonna grab this quick, give it a good wipe. Sorry, that's squeaky. There we go. Use a very light hand. The reason why is because once you move down, the edge of the brayer can cause little lines. Maybe I'll find one of my samples here. If I run across it, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But very, very light hand. I am just controlling it, not, what do I want to say, not pressing. I'm just going back and forth. And I start at the very top, and I then lightly move my way down. And you can see how it's turned from like little spotties, like ink dots. When it turns from that, you're smoothing it out, and that's exactly what you want. And down here I can see how there's a lot of plum punch. It's kind of pooling. I can maybe do 1 swipe off and come back. I think that's good. I think I'm happy with it. So I'll show you what this looks like just as is. And I know some people, like this is my off to the side where I'm just kind of wiping it off. Some people do that. Something that I like to do is to go ahead and do it on the back of the paper. Because if for some reason I don't like it, I have come up with some really cool designs on the back that I actually like. I'll show you one in a little bit, but, and oops, I had 2 pieces of paper. We'll hold on to that. So I'll pull this up. Isn't that pretty? So that's the first. You can layer, 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 and I've got something on there. I have a fuzzy. Do you see that? I can see it now, but I'll show it to you. It's right here. So I could avoid that spot, but I'll go ahead and we can do another layer. Right, I'm gonna take this. One of the things I like to do is have one of the TE cloths nearby, and I keep it clean. I don't have anything other than water on this one. Sorry, it squeaks. The reason why I like keeping this around is because it gives no fibers off. I don't have to worry about that. And I just want the clean water. So sorry about the squeak. I'm sure whoever said they couldn't hear me probably can hear that loud and clear. Sorry. I don't want any cleaning products on here. I just keep it it's just wet with water. So I'll set that aside quick. And we'll try this again. I am going to brayer off as much as I can so that the guava and plum punch don't just become the same color here. So I'll do a couple again. And I can show you what it kind of looks like with, let's see, is anyone else? Yes, I'm using the gel print paper, yes. I did use white, sugar cube white cardstock too, and had good results with that also. So just kind of try them both and see what you think. The gel press paper, or the gel printing paper sure is smooth and has a nice feel to it. I feel like I have too much ink, so I'm going to go off. I'm going to kind of come back a smidge. Again, light, light, light hand. Because if you press too hard, you will really you won't see it like right now, but you'll see it when you pull the paper up. So go ahead and put this down. You can use your hand. I just really like using my brayer. See, isn't that, I don't know about you guys, but I sure think there's something pretty about that too. So can you see how dark I'm getting that? It's beautiful. So I will show you how, so that's just a background you could totally make, like I'll show you this one again. So I took this, was just a background that I liked. Again, that was pineapple, guava, and plum punch. And I cut it with a Pierce lattice cutting plate. So I just thought it was a pretty background. So, and this is, what's the name of this die? It's called Branch Out. It happens to be one of my favorite. You'll see I used it again on another card. So we'll set that aside. So if you can use the backgrounds for things like that. I'm also going to show you how I created this, which I'm in love with this card. This is the stamp set that's Good Hearted. It's the $100 freebie this month. I'm in love. This might be my favorite freebie they've done. I love the envelopes. That was a freebie. I don't even remember. You can buy it now, but I love that one. This one I think is beautiful. I just love the shape of the hearts. The long hearts are my favorite heart in general. Just the shape of them. So we'll go back. Let's try this again. We'll do our 3 taps of guava, 3 of the plum punch. Now for this one, I'm going to have 2 pieces of paper ready. I'll use this one that I accidentally, so we can hold on to that one. I'm going to have 2 pieces of paper at the ready. And then again, very light hand. So I start at the top off the edge. And if you noticed, I went this way and then I came back a little bit just to make sure it's blending all the way to the end. And right here, I'm going to scooch back a little bit. You could go all the way up, but you're really going to blend all your colors together. I can see some beading. So if you notice, I just swiped off once. Can you see that little bit of beading? I don't know how it comes through. There's just a little bit there. So that, blend that out. Then I will take this background, and the way I like to use it is I just leave it right on this card that it comes on, and I scooched it down to the bottom, and then I will lay it. That way I can look towards the bottom of my gel press and lay this right down on top of it. And then I just gently press. You don't have to press hard because that gel press is pretty, you know, flexible, so you don't have to be rough about it. Just run your hand over it, peel it up, and then we will do both of these this time. So I'm going to lay this is the gel printing paper again. And again, I like to use my brayer. And then on this, can I scooch this over? This in frame a little bit. I'm going to, do you remember that back in the day where you give it a little, like you're cleaning your glasses, kind of air on the back of it, just to reactivate the ink a little bit. Then I will hold one hand steady and press with the other one. You can use your brayer. I actually have used it before. I just sometimes have to be careful because I feel like the brayer kind of moves it as it just did. So I keep one hand steady and rub with the other one. So you had ink on there, so it pulls that up. Isn't that pretty? And then let's reveal this one. Isn't that so pretty? See, it's for it to be less intimidating. I agree. Thank you, Teresa. I love these both. Aren't they so pretty? I'm in love with this, especially the guava and the plum punch. Only 2 colors, but you get this pretty blend in the middle too if you kind of go back a little bit. So, and these were the ones I did at home. So this was on sugar cube, which I think turns out good. And then this is the gel printing paper. Turns out very good also. I like them both. I really like how they turned out. I think they're really cute. So that's both of them. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I think there's something pretty about even the back of these sometimes. So set those aside. So those were all 3 that we just did. Let's set them aside and we'll try. I'm going to try to clean it quick. Clean that off a bit. I'm going to use a little bit of that hand sanitizer. I just put a few drops on it. And then I take a paper towel. And I don't swipe too many times. Paper towel, depending on what you have at home, can really start to shred in a hurry and leave little bits on your gel press, which you don't want. So I did one swipe. I'm gonna find a different spot. Sorry, reaching for my hand sanitizer back. Clean it one more time with a different part of my paper towel. If you'll notice it starts to shred sometimes, and I don't like all those little bits. So this is also the reason why I keep this around. One, like I said, very little lint it gives off, and again, it just has water on it. I just in my mind feel like I just want that hand sanitizer. If there's any residue from it on my press, I want it off, but that's just a personal thing. Clean up my Misty, make sure I didn't get anything on there. Sorry for the squeaking. Squeaky clean, how about that? Oh, I see a fuzzy. Get that off of there. Any little fuzzy, any little thing will show up. So get that out of the way. I'm gonna let this set just for a second because I wanted to talk to you about that new cool, how I did the sentiment on that card, which I already lost it, because I adore Taylor's new tool. So I'm going to show you quick. I showed this in a live quite a while back, but I am completely addicted to, if I make a sentiment, to make more than one. If I've got the embossing powder out, the gun, your future self will really appreciate this. I just keep them in the back of my storage. Either if you've got the nice storage envelopes, I just save the extras. So what I'm going to do is I did the happy birthday, or happy Valentine's Day, sorry. This is a newer one that just came out, the Love and Hugs. I think that one's really cute. If you can't tell, I love the font. I don't like the old school cursive, but I like this new kind of loopy font that's coming out a lot. So I like that I can see this powder. So when I put it down, I'll be really aggressive about it. So you can kind of see that. I'm out of frame, sorry. So you can kind of see that right there. I like that I can see it. That way I can say, oh, my paper is covered, I'm good. So I took all the sentiments that were on there and I laid them all out on my Misty so I can do them all at one time. I'm going to ink it up with Versamark. And I'm going to use white just to show you how well this tool works. And Louise will be very proud. I remembered to grab the Just Press tool today and not my sleeve. She usually comes in after my live and she's like, if I had been there, I would have gotten the Just Press tool for you. Let me ink these up one more time. I can see that I didn't get the happy birthday very well. Versamark's very forgiving if you want to use it several times, especially for embossing. I don't know, maybe I'm just not pressing very hard right there. Try it one more time. This is well-loved Versamark. It probably needs to be re-inked, right? It doesn't do any damage to anything, so I just keep using it. So I want to give pressure just there to see if I can get it. There we go. So that is all my sentiments. So that way I can get a whole bunch cut at one time, and I'll be ready to go for my next projects. So. And then this is the TE White embossing powder. I'm going to talk you through a little bit. When I emboss, a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't work out for me, or I don't. I have a couple of things that are kind of my rules. Taylor probably laughing at me right now because she always says I have rules for things. I just have certain things I like to follow to make sure stuff turns out. It could be that I was a demonstrator for years, so I did a whole lot of teaching how to do things right. I always keep my kids' school, papers they bring home, and I use them for my funneling my embossing powder back in. That out of the way, the white out of the way, And when I'm at home, I love having a Swiffer because especially around my gel press, I don't like all that little fine grit around my gel press. So I'm gonna, a couple of rules that I have. One, heat up the embossing gun. Get your embossing gun warm. I know people have said it for years. I'm not the first one to say it. Just get it nice and hot. I like to heat the back of my paper a little bit. That's an old school thing that I learned. I feel like if your powder's gonna fly off, that gives it a chance to kind of adhere from the bottom when you come back to heat it from the top. So I'm gonna show you, I heat the back just a little bit. It doesn't have to be for very long. And then I'm gonna show you, I don't get close. I stay in one spot and I stay about 2 inches away. And then I stay in one spot until it's melted and then I move on because I have less of a chance of missing a spot that way. And as long as you're 2 inches away, you're not gonna burn your paper. If you're on top of it and you stay in one spot, you might burn your paper, but I always say keep moving, keep moving. As soon as it's done, just move on. Okay, could you hear any of that over the... The crafting rule, Pledge of Allegiance. Charlie, you're funny. I should. I have too many rules. So at least, what would you call that? I keep my gun at least 2 inches, 1.5 inches away from my paper. That is a big rule for me. And then I always check when I'm all done. I'll tip it in the light and make sure that I got it's all shiny. And I think I got it all. So I can see a little bit of that residue. If you have one of these cloths, if you have a Swiffer cloth, that's awesome. If you have one of these that's clean, which I never do, and dry, you can wipe it with that. Or your pants. I would use my pants or my sleeve or Swiffer just to buff off what's left. And then I would line up my dies, and I've shown you, I think it was a live in December that I did, that if you're really mass producing, like if you're making card kits like for gifts or something, I will line these all up and run them through the die cut machine just once. That way I have a whole bunch of them, they're all done, they're ready to go, and then whichever ones I didn't use, I throw in the back of my packaging. So that's how I did the Happy Valentine's Day on here, and then I added the 3 little clay hearts from the heart mix that TE sells. Just 3 of them nicely on this. And this is the frame and frame cutting plate. I think it's frame and frame 2, but I know it's frame and frame. It's 1 or 2 is where that frame is out of. And that's how I made that card. And this, the card base is Earl Grey, if that's something you wanted to know. So isn't that cute how that turns out? So let me move on and we'll come back to the gel press. I'm going to show you, red rubber is probably my favorite to use because it is set so etched deep in there. I really like the red rubber. I like the stability of it. I especially love backgrounds because they just work so perfectly. But I'm going to show you, I made a card with the bold branches. This one just came out a couple of weeks ago. Is the yes because I asked about if you could hear me over the embossing gun. Thank you. I wanted to know because I wanted to kind of give you guys tips. I get a lot of times that people say they can't emboss. It's once you follow certain things, you can. It's really easy. So for this one, I'm going to use 3 colors for this one. And I used lime zest, blue raspberry, and blueberry were the ones that I used. And being I didn't clean my brayer, I'm going to bring in my old one. I think I bought this when I was a Stampin' Up! Demo long ago. It's still the same speed ball. They just must have changed their design. So for this one, I'm just going to do 2 taps of my ink pad. Beings, I'm using 3 colors this time. So lime zest, blue raspberry, and then blueberry. So let me get those, and then I'll get some more scratch paper again. We will start up at the top. Again, a light hand, and make extra sure that you kind of blend by going up just a little bit from where you started to get your blend going. So I'm going to start off at the top. Very light hand. I think I might do one, just get a little bit off there. I feel like I see a lot of dots, a lot of ink dots, and I don't want to see that. So I'm going to go back a little bit just to blend those two together. Down. You know what? I'm going to do just a plain, just press of this one because I'm really curious. It's really pretty. I'm going to take the gel printing paper and just do one. I'm just really curious. I don't think I did this. Again, I do like to just see. Sometimes the backs turn out so pretty. I do have one to show you. That'll show you the back. Where it's like, ooh, I would actually make a card with that. Let's see it. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Okay, so do you see a little bit of line? That's where I needed to lighten my hand just a little bit. But if I did another press of it, I probably wouldn't even see it. But that's beautiful. I love that. So, got to do it again now though. Sorry. Kind of get some of that color off. We'll do the lime zest again. Blue raspberry. Isn't it crazy that they use hand sanitizer to clean that off? I think it's nuts. We all seem to have that now in our possession. So very lightly back and forth. And then I only go back just a little bit because I don't want to lose all my light color, but I do go back like an inch or two just to really blend those colors together. And so I don't have harsh lines between each one. So let's do that. Then I've done it a couple of ways. I'm just for time's sake, I am just going to do like I did with this one where I do one stamp. But I'm going to just start in the middle. And I don't press hard because with the clear ones, it's really easy to rock. And I do like to stamp off a little bit. I don't know if it for sure that makes a difference. But I just want to make sure I'm grabbing up as much ink as I possibly can. And darker colors, like I tried to do this technique with pineapple, and I really couldn't see where I had been. So it's much easier to do it with like these colors kind of show up really well. So I'm going to go straight down and straight up. Don't wiggle. And you do not, I cannot emphasize this enough, you really do not have to press hard. Because one, so your stamp doesn't rock. And two, you don't need to. If you press too hard, I find you can even get into the divots of the stamp, and you really don't want to do that. So I can show you a few samples where I did it and it didn't turn out great, but isn't this, oh, it looks pretty. So we'll see here. All right, let's grab a piece of gel printing paper, run my brayer over it. I'm very excited to see what this looks like. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? So I would just take this. I actually like the fact that this paper is this size because I can decide, oh, I don't like the way this stamped up here, or I don't like that I've got a little divot down here. This is probably where I hit with my finger. You can see it right there. I hit the gel press with my finger, but I don't think anyone's going to notice. So I like having the ability to pick which part of this I want. So I could lay a die, or I could just take my paper cutter and cut down to the piece that I want. So that is, again, lime zest, blue raspberry, and blueberry to make both of these. And this is the hand lettered sympathy that I used for this. Again, this is my future self will thank me for, this is how I do them if I want to set it up and make several. That is a black embossed sentiment with those. Let me see. So with this one, when you do the clear, it's kind of hard. I suppose I could have set a white piece of paper off to the side. Next time I will have to try that, right? Let's see, do we have enough time? Maybe I could try it quick. What I'm gonna do this time is set a piece of paper off to the side and go ahead and stamp. Let's see how that turns out. I haven't tried it with the clears yet, so let's just do it quick. I don't like to do things unplanned on my videos. I always do everything ahead of time because I'm very, like, what if it doesn't turn out? So let's try it. Light hand again. How are we doing? Are you guys getting bored with me yet? Yeah, I agree. Do we, that's the with sympathy hand lettered. Yeah, there's lots of good sayings in that one. All right, let's try this. So we'll go, put them both on the screen. See, I pressed too hard. Do you see that? I pressed too hard and I'm getting a little pull up right there. So try really hard not to do as I say, not as I just did. I might follow my exact same pattern that I'm doing up here. It'll make it easier just thought process wise. Ooh, this totally does turn out cool. So I guess you don't even have to waste it, huh? I didn't even think about doing this. Sorry, I'm focused. I can't stamp and talk, obviously, right? Oh, I might need to get something underneath, like one of the mats from the Misty. I'm trying not to press hard here, so it's hard for me to focus when I get over here to go ahead and actually press. So I don't want to press hard when I'm on the gel press, but I do want to press hard when I get over here to my cardstock. It's hard to get my mind to do it in one spot and not the other. That turned out pretty. Let's throw another, things we've got this one done. Throw a piece of paper down. I have to, sorry. Can't let that go to waste, right? Being as it was an experiment. And I use a light hand even when I do that. Gosh, I love that. I think I love this leaf in the branch out a ton. I do have samples. Let me put this aside. I do have other samples with that where I used more of the other branches. So this one I didn't like, but Taylor liked. I think it makes a pretty sympathy card. It was sweet potato, Dijon, and then I believe it was confetti cake. But I went back too far, so I basically put all my Dijon into the confetti cake. But that's, again, that's another stamp from the branch out set. It happens to be this one. This is where I used a mix of them, so you can use the whole set. Again, this was me trying to press very lightly, and I didn't get it all done, but that one's a lot better. This is one where I did a lot of lines. I was pressing too hard when I was going back and forth, so that's how that turns out. Let me show you this really quick. I forgot to do this. I think this turns out so cool. You can lay, so the masking oval stencils, that's what I laid on there. And I laid it right on the gel press. So let me show you that quick. Again, I'm gonna stick with the lime zest just because I have this out and I don't have to stop and clean here. They are half sheets, yes. I'm not really sure, I didn't see the earlier comments. The gel printing paper are 5.5 by 8.5. And at first I was cutting them down, but I really like having the flexibility of being able to pick what area I want to use. I know that does, or I want to use, I know that does cause a little bit of waste, but I really, really like it. So now I got to figure out what I did with my stencils. I was really trying hard today to not lose anything. Every live I seem to put something under things and then I lose it, and it's right here. So I'm gonna try the rectangle one this time, the scalloped rectangle one. So let's lay that down. It's kind of fun to see it take on the shape, right? So I'll take a piece of paper, lay that over the top. It's also kind of nice to have that big piece of paper. Then you don't have to worry about being square on there every time. I just let it move. We'll see how this turns out. I let it move. And I haven't tried the scallop one yet, so we'll see how this turns out. Oh, it's because I have two pieces of paper. I've done that before, a couple of times already now. Good thing it didn't move. That's a good thing. Oh my, that's beautiful. Here, let's cut this off. Hold a minute. Let's get rid of the other ucky part. Bring it back, sorry. Isn't that beautiful? I just love how that turns out. So then you could take and add, let me get this out of the way. So this is the oval. I did this one at home with the oval. I also did this one. And then I had a card here. Oh, here it is. So let's get, I feel like here's a mess. I literally have everything spread out, every square inch over here used. I'll have to get that cleaned up before Louise arrives. So this is the card that I made with one of them that I did at home. So you could add this to a card front, put whatever on it, whether it be a die cut or, yeah. And that is everything I was going to show you today. Let me get some finished cards into the frame here. Oh, wait, I do have one more thing I was going to show you. So this stamp set is one that was released last year, Hearts of Plenty. So I tried the same thing where I put this, I used guava and plum punch with this one. And I put first the red rubber down and pulled it up, and that's the image that I got. And then what was left on the red rubber, I got that. So I'm getting like kind of a twofer. And then I went ahead and used some of those clear fills to put in each, not each of them. I went every other one on the small ones. But this is the one I wanted to show you. I think the back is so cool. It was actually kind of hard for me to decide if I wanted this side or this side. Obviously I wanted this side because I went ahead and put the little fills in there. And a sentiment, and the sentiment is from it was just released, the Simple Strips Love is where that's out of, if you're curious. But I'll go ahead and glue this down, but I really wanted to show you. I thought it was really pretty. I don't know. Maybe you'll agree or disagree. I just thought it was pretty. That would be me letting go a little bit to use that side, but I really like it. So I always use the brayer. I know a lot of people use their hands, but I like to go ahead and use the brayer because I've come up with some pretty fun backgrounds and I plan to use them. So let's get this one glued down now. And then, so that is from the Hearts of Plenty. Isn't that cute? I really like this. I even like this all by itself. I thought that was so pretty. Anyway, well, let me bring in some, like I said, some of my finished cards here and sign off. Let me make sure I didn't miss anyone's questions. Look at all of them. And yes, I have lots of card fronts to make up. So it is not a sponge. Yes, I must have missed the question. How different is this versus a gel mat? I guess I don't know what that is. Someone asked, Sharon asked, how different is brayering on a tabletop versus a gel mat? I'm assuming you're meaning straight down, like putting ink on some sort of tabletop. I'm not sure. I've never done that, so I can't answer that question. But I can answer, is this spongy? No, it is hard. It has a little give to it, but really not very much. So I hope I didn't miss any other. I was trying to be better today. Love the scallop print. I did too. It turned out so pretty. I agree. Can't wait to make that into something. I love it. So, and like I said, I use these, some of these are with sugar cube, like this one's with sugar cube, this one's with sugar cube, and then the other ones are with the gel printing paper. So you can use either. I would say try them, see what you got, and play. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not going to switch you back because I always forget how to do it. Taylor is in a meeting, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. I hope you, if you didn't think using the gel press was for you and you want to try gel printing, I hope this maybe is a different, more clean and simple thought process and you might want to try it. So hope you have a good day. Thank you all for joining me. Bye.